Hey guys, if you're a UFC fan and you want to know what to expect from this weekend's fight, here's a no bullshit, simple, easy breakdown of the UFC 245 card. Let's go check it out. So, first up, you've got Usman Covington. Now, the first thing you got to know is this is literally the best fight, best card of the whole year. Not just the best fight, but this is the best card. 3 belts on the line, plus 2 other sick fights. So if you're a casual fan, if you're balls deep, as Brendan Shaw would say, this is the card of the year that you absolutely, no questions asked, must go and see. Let's check it out. So, let's start from the bottom up, okay? First up, let's have a look at this. From the bottom, look at this. Oof. Usman, Covington, Hallaway, fellow Aussie, Alexander Volkanovski. With a name like that, you wouldn't expect he's an Aussie. But let's start from the bottom. So, first up, let's have a look. More fights. Okay. So Peter Van and Uriah Faber. If you're a casual fan, you probably don't know Peter Van, but you definitely know Uriah Faber, the California kid. I think personally with this fight, just touching on it quickly, I think that they've set it up so Peter Van, if he wins this, becomes well known and it just boosts his stock. And because people don't really know who he is. I think Uriah Faber's a big name, and so it's a win-win for the UFC, and it's a win-win for both fighters. If Uriah wins, he just beat a guy who's 13-1. If Peter wins, all of a sudden everyone knows who he is, because this is the biggest card of the year, and he's fighting a huge name. So I think this is probably going to be Uriah's last fight, so I'm really looking forward to this fight. My pick is going to be Peter Van, though, because he's a killer. Marlon Moraes and Jose Aldo. So this is actually a really good fight as well. For me, this is a good fight because Marlon's last fight was against Triple C, and he was a fucking wrecking ball. Marlon was going through absolutely everybody, just murdering people, knockouts, this, that, undefeated for such a long time on a win streak. And then Triple C beats him and wins the second belt in the UFC. They call him Triple C, but he's got 2 belts. So Henry Cejudo. So I think for me to see how Marlon bounces back from the Henry Cejudo loss is more exciting than just seeing the 2 of these guys fight. For me to just see how he bounces back from the Henry Cejudo loss is really exciting. Plus, Jose Aldo is a legend, so that's a really good fight as well. Now, moving into the main card, the main fighters. So you got Nunes versus De Randamie. Now, right there, if you're not excited about that, you're not really a UFC fan. You've got, first of all, actually, I met Amanda like 6 months ago. Super sweet, I met her at Craig's in LA restaurant, and she was super nice. But you've got the greatest female fighter of all time, hands down. Beat the list of people she's beaten. I won't even go through it because it's ridiculous. She's beat everybody, but decisively beat everybody, and she can stand up and trade, or she's good on the ground. De Randamie is a kickboxing champion, and her best chance is probably to knock out Amanda, which is possible because she used to be a knockout artist, and she was a 10-time kickboxing champion. So Jermaine versus Amanda is a really, really, really good fight. I'm going to have to go with Amanda though, because first of all, she's the double champ. Second of all, she's the greatest female fighter of all time. Third of all, she's already beaten Jermaine maybe 6 years ago. They're different fighters now, but she already beat her once. Granted, they are different fighters now. Plus, Amanda, if we look at the stats here, Amanda's actually 4 years younger. So you got a younger fighter who's already won and who's the champion in 2 weight classes. The only thing that could be an issue maybe is the weight cut, because I think they're fighting at a favorable weight for De Randamie. But let's go Nunes. Next up, Max Bless Hallaway and Alexander the Great Volkanovski. So, I mean, he's an Aussie, so I got to back him. But I mean, this is a fairly simple to break down fight. You've got Hallaway, who's undefeated at 145 in title fights. He's maintained his title undefeated in championship fights at 145. Then you've got super confident Aussie guy, you know, with a name like that, you probably don't really sort of, you know, Alexander Volkanovski doesn't really scream Aussie, but he's Aussie. When you hear him speak, rugby player from Wollongong, from the Gong Boy, which is just outside Sydney in New South Wales, which is where I'm from. So super confident, power knockout artist. The difference there is that he's got the power, and Max has got sort of the high volume sort of you know pace that he keeps. It seems like Alex can keep the pace as well though. So for me, I'm still going to go with Max Holloway. I'm 50-50. I actually think Alex might take it because I'm 50-50. Alex is just so confident at the moment. Like just listening to his interviews, I watched Embedded 2 literally just came out, second Embedded, and he seems so confident. Alex is his best chance is to just land those heavy shots and see Max get hurt. For me, Max, if he watched the boxing on the weekend, the heavyweight title on the weekend with Anthony Joshua and Luis Ortiz, which Ortiz won the first fight and gave Joshua his first loss. And then Joshua came back just on the weekend and reclaimed the heavyweight title. For me, if I was Max's corner, I would be sticking and moving, putting that long jab and then moving. Don't get in a firefight. I feel like if he gets in a firefight with Alex, it's going to be trouble for Max. And just like Anthony Joshua did on the weekend with his heavyweight bout, he just popping the jab, not really overcommitting on too many shots and moving away. Very light on his feet. And as he said, you know, it was the sweet science of boxing. Well, the sweet science of MMA is to, you know, pop and move away, you know, mix it up, strikes, takedowns. But don't get caught in that striking range, in Alex's striking range, where you can get hurt and get into a firefight. So for me, it's 50-50. But if I was Max's corner, I wouldn't get caught in a firefight. So let's go back to the main card. Now, if you're into trash talk, or you're not into trash talk, I mean, this is a good fight. For me, this is maybe one of the best fights of the whole year. This fight, Usman versus Covington. The way I want to break this down is pretty straightforward. You've got, I mean, it's actually a pretty simple way to break it down. You've got the skills, the technique, and the way that they fight. And then you've got the mental aspect. So I'm just going to keep it simple, super easy. Skills-wise, they're both really similar. They both strike, takedown, strike, takedown, takedown, strike, strike, takedown. It's sort of similar to, I guess, like a George St. Pierre or even a Khabib. Khabib is more sort of grappling and wrestling based, but these guys, actually probably of the whole roster at the moment, these guys probably do it the best and the most, where they're mixing their wrestling in with their striking in. Main difference skills-wise and sort of technique-wise is that Usman is just fucking bigger, stronger. And when he's throwing that punch, he's got the power to knock you out. We haven't seen many knockouts from Covington. So Usman's got more power, probably going to throw less, but it's going to be, 100% or 80% power that he's throwing. Colby is throwing a lot more volume, but he's throwing like 40 or 50%. So that's the main difference skills-wise that I can see. We've never seen really any of them get sort of, diminished or really that tired, or we've never really seen any of them sort of give up, because their records are so good. I'm not sure if it's 14-1 or 15-1, but they've only had one loss. Their records are pretty much identical. Similar style. Looking at this photo, you can't really see a huge difference, but I would say that the size on the day actually might be a factor. Same age, there you go, 15-1, 15-1. So it's different on this. If you go to Google, it's different. If you haven't jumped on to the UFC website, definitely check it out. I always use the app, but the website's much better. So this fight for me, skills-wise, really similar. If you look at the mental aspect, now fighters are always saying it's 90% mental, 10% physical, and 10% skills. It's 90% the mental aspect of it. And if you look at the mental aspect of it, you've just got to go ahead and look at what Covington's doing. He's trash talking like no one else. I think probably since McGregor left, or McGregor's coming back now in January, but since McGregor, I don't know if anyone else has really done this much trash talking. It's kind of like Colby's kind of mimicking or replicating sort of the McGregor and the Mayweather and the, talking a lot, and probably he's really replicating, like a Josh Koscheck or a, Bisping. He's kind of talking a lot. And I think for me, I'm going to have to give the mental edge to Colby. It's interesting how it's going to play out. So for me, it's either going to play out where it was just like Aldo versus McGregor. And when McGregor was talking all this trash and got into Aldo's head, Aldo got knocked out in the first however many seconds it was, 20 seconds, 13 seconds, I think it was. Aldo came and threw this big, overcommitted shot. McGregor stepped back and bam, out. So it could either go that way, where Usman gets frustrated and he throws extra power into his shots and he really wants to hurt Colby and it can backfire on Usman. Or it could go the other way, where it was Khabib versus Conor, and Conor was just talking all this trash and just pissed Khabib off, and Khabib really wanted to hurt him and actually made Khabib probably train harder and probably made Khabib hurt him more. It's not exactly a good example because Conor didn't look very good in that fight and his striking didn't look sharp as it used to, and it didn't look like the same old Conor that it used to look like. So it's probably not the best example, but the trash talking, the point I'm trying to make is the trash talking could either go in Colby's favor or go against him and just pisses Kamaru off and he fights even better. I think it's going to go towards Colby's favor. So mental aspect, I'm going to have to give it to Covington. The second part of that is that no one really is talking about this, not talking about that much, is the fact that Colby is chosen to not only talk all this trash and put all these videos with him and girls up and like go all out, which takes confidence. It takes balls to do that, because if you put everything out there and then you get knocked out and you lose in front of the first family, he's talking about, Trump family, the first family's gonna be there. That's putting it all out there. So that takes confidence. So the confident mental aspect I'm gonna have to give to him. Plus, again, no one's really talking about it, is the fact that Colby Covington is a Trump supporter, and he's got the Trump hat on and Make America Great Again. And for people that aren't in America, I guess they don't know really that that's not the popular vote. Like, that's not a thing that, especially when Colby's in showbiz. So it's not like it's a popular thing to say, hey, I'm a Trump supporter. So by him saying that, it shows that he's got even that much confidence to go against the grain, not to go what's popular, but just to go what he believes in. And a perfect example is that when Obama was president, you saw everybody was pro-Obama. Everybody was talking about it. Rappers, athletes, musicians, actors. Everybody was like, "Yay, Obama, hey!" And they were all trying to go back to the White House and be with Obama. They would have loved to bring the belt back and bring it to Obama's desk. Fast forward to now, where Trump's not popular. Because in showbiz, in those, in the acting and music and sports and entertainment, which these guys are in. They're in showbiz and they're in fighting, both. It's not popular to be a Trump supporter. So for me, that shows a huge confidence in Colby going, fuck it. It's not even popular with everyone in showbiz to be a Trump supporter, but I'm still going to do it. And maybe part of him is doing it because he wants to piss people off, but the other part of him is doing it because he actually legitimately is a Trump supporter. And the fact that he doesn't care whether people think it's cool or whether it is the cool thing to do, he's still doing it, shows a real confidence. So, in summary, it's literally the best card of the year. You need to get your tickets. You need to watch it. You absolutely need to get this pay-per-view. It's got the best card that I've seen, and it's the last fight of the year. And for me, I mean, I would be like 1,000% surprised if there isn't something on this card, some fight that just shocks everybody, where you're like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. Actually, I'm even surprised that no one's pulled out yet, and all these fighters are still going hard. So that's, fingers crossed, no one pulls out. I don't want to jinx it, but you need to see this fight, and I hope you enjoyed the breakdown, and I'll check you guys out soon.